I'm Felix Levine, and welcome to Unlike Me, where I sit down with fascinating people I have nothing in common with. And we're live. Sofia, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited for today. I feel like we're gonna get a little feral and rowdy.
I mean, I showed up with a seltzer.
I literally go, do you need any drinks or anything? You go, no, nothing, and then you show up with an IPA.
Yeah, so that was a last minute decision, and I was at a recording before this, and they kind of liquored me up a little bit.
Oh, so you're ready to go.
That's feral. I cannot emphasize the feral enough.
Also, I need to tell you about how I got here today.
Okay.
Because I told you I had a little crazy story.
Oh, yeah, you said the last 24 hours is wild.
So we were in Canada.
Okay.
And we were in this little rogue island called Miscou. From Miscou, you have to drive 2 hours to take a first flight. That's 2 hours to get to Montreal. Then you have a layover. Then you get to New York City. It's like a 10-hour thing. We do the whole first part. We get to Montreal. As we land, flight's canceled. So we're like, okay, because of rain. So then they're like, we've already rebooked you for tomorrow at 6 p.m., but we are recording today at 4 p.m. So I'm like, hold on, I have shit to do. I got to be back in New York. Like, we have lots to do. We end up getting a rental car at about 9 o'clock.
No
we
way.
have to go get Serena's bag from customs because it's a whole customs situation. We leave Montreal at 10 o'clock after basically already like a 8-hour travel day. And I drove 8 straight hours.
You're lying.
Until 6 a.m. We got to back in the city at 6:30. I slept 2 hours. And now we're here. So we're committed.
That is insane. And that is a testament to the craft and how fucking dedicated you are.
Thank you.
Because we had a recording scheduled last week.
Oh, yeah.
I woke up with a cold sore, which I would just like to say on the record, I have gotten cold sores. My entire family gets them.
Yeah.
There's such a stigma. Actually, that's why I'm here today. Is to talk
to defeat the cold sore stigma. Also, what brand should sponsor you while you talk about it? Let's get you a brand deal because we're manifesting rich.
Right, a Cyclovir, which is a medication for herpes simplex 1 and 2.
Okay.
I don't know what strain it is. This is really gonna I'm digging myself in a hole.
So you have both herpes 1 and 2, is what you're saying?
I have all of them.
Okay, cool.
So I don't, also on the record, but I had a fucking 2 cold sores, which I rarely get them now. And I was like, Felix, my career is
in
at
jeopardy.
Stake.
Right.
Do you agree? Do you think I was being dramatic?
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Yes.
But you haven't seen a picture, which I will show you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was like...
It was big.
It was, and there were 2, brother and sister.
That's the worst.
Yeah. When it's like family dynamic cold sores. That shit gets crazy. But...
So then they evaporated that quick. I mean, how are you inhaling this? What's the brand that we're getting the brand deal from?
A Cyclovir. Yeah, you crush it up and you snort it, and it gets rid of them immediately.
You crush it up and you snort it? That would be very, honestly, great marketing.
That would be really good.
I know a lot of people that would probably consume.
It's giving de Blasio and the Shake Shack burger.
Oh my God, Sophie. And I don't even know how it came up. We were talking about mayors in New York City before we started recording. We were talking about the OG de Blasio convincing New Yorkers to get vaccinated for free Shake Shack at 10:31 a.m. Excellent video for anybody who needs a good midday chuckle.
That's the most insane. That was the most incredible video. Thank you for sharing. But all of that is just to say you are good, my friend.
I respect it. I appreciate it. What's something the world doesn't know about Sofia Franklyn?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I'm such a fucking open book to a fault. I think something the world doesn't know is, if I'm going to go deep with it, I get extreme. No, that's not good enough. I was gonna say this whole thing about being insecure, but everyone is
everybody has
everyone would be like, "What the fuck?
Sure.
Oh, that's crazy." That's like J-Lo. Have you seen the documentary?
Oh no, I just saw the TikTok of her performing in an empty arena.
No,
you saw that one?
I saw that, but there is a documentary that hasn't really been marketed, and everyone needs to stop what they're doing, go watch it. J-Lo is the most deranged, narcissistic. It was scary to watch. Anyways, something the world doesn't know about. Oh, I have a great one. I will let food sit out all day long and even all night, and I'll still eat it. If it doesn't have bacteria growing on it, I don't want it. You know what I mean?
That's actually such a red flag. It's nuts.
Don't care.
So you don't care if it's fish, meat.
If I get sushi and I take some home,
Oh,
I'll let it chill and I'll just eat it for breakfast.
But
I have
hold
no
on.
issue.
So like you could get sushi at like 5 or 6 o'clock, let it chill the whole night in this 95-degree humidity.
Well, my apartment is that.
Oh. And then you're going to eat it. Also psychotic behavior for breakfast the next morning.
Yeah. I have no issue. I feel like that's a very American thing to, oh my God, the poultry has been out for an hour. We can't have it now.
That I agree, because I'm half French, so I kind of like have the, I think Americans sometimes can be a little bit too
over the top
about that stuff. However, I'm like actually a little concerned for you. But like that's even, it's like even like with the Chinese, like do you have a lot of like left out? Why don't you just put it in the fridge? I think it could solve your problems.
So it's not like I'm against putting shit in the fridge.
Okay.
It's not that, but I know some people will be like, oh my God, this has been sitting on the counter for a few hours. Like we got to trash it.
For sure.
I am not like that. And if I order food and I can't eat it right away, I let it chill. And it's no issue if I decide 5 hours later to dig in. It went from insecurity to I need bacteria growth on my food.
And you've never gotten sick?
Okay,
yeah,
I'm really okay, but I got sick very recently, but I was in another country. I was abroad when I got sick, so it doesn't count.
Okay. Love this for you. So I want to counter you really quickly because I was listening to a recent episode of Sofia with an F. Mm-hmm. The breakup episode. Mm-hmm. It took 3 times to record.
Yeah.
You said, I'm out there, I tell everyone everything. And as you admit in the episode, to your credit, you're like, I feel like I was omitting some of the truth, having been dating somebody, Aubrey, who's not Drake. Would you date Drake?
I wouldn't. Why I decided to give my ex-boyfriend that character name, I don't know, but I think it's really funny.
It is actually very funny. I was dying laughing too. So for 2 years, I guess you were in this relationship. I guess my first question is like, how do you, because I do agree though, that you are very like, you speak to your audience, you say it as it is, but how did you kind of cover up being in a relationship for 2 years while also being as truthful as possible to your audience?
Oh my God. It was extremely stressful. And that was a big reason why it didn't work out. And I don't blame him, but it was like a constant battle of, I don't feel comfortable making it public for various reasons, and him feeling like I'm trying to keep him a secret.
Right.
Which in a lot of ways I was. How do I keep it a secret? I would barely, can I say that word? Yes.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I probably have said it 12 times already. I wouldn't really post. And it was actually really hard. And everyone knew. Everyone knew that there was something I wasn't sharing, and I would see comments and people were getting frustrated because I would talk about everything else, and then my love life, it was just radio silence. But how did I do it? I just didn't post, or I just skimmed right over that. Or to be honest, sometimes like in an interview, I would lie.
Right.
Yeah.
How are you feeling post breakup? Are you okay?
I'm doing really, really good.
Good.
Now, if you asked me like a month ago, I would have been like, I just kind of think we should get back together. I think I fucked up. But now, I think it's been like 3 months. I'm starting to see the light.
Now, something else that I find very interesting that I want to talk to you about is you've been very open about in the past being unfaithful, and do you think you can be loyal to a man in the future?
No doubt, 1,000,000%.
Why?
Because this breakup wasn't just about this ending of two people who loved each other and this romantic failure. This breakup was me really coming face to face with a lot of demons.
Yeah.
That I was using a relationship to cover up these demons. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people do that without even realizing it.
What were the demons?
The demons were, well, I think I can answer that question by explaining what the relationship did for me and what always being in a monogamous relationship basically my entire life has been for. I'm very, very scared of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's an abandonment issue aspect. There is overall just not feeling confident or good about myself and using relationships to provide that comfort, you know, and that source of, no, you're amazing, you're great, and filling a void.
At what point was it during this relationship that you started to understand these things, or was it prior to getting into this latest one?
I think it's been a very recent discovery for me, which is funny because I'm very self-aware, but I didn't realize that I had been picking relationships because of that. But I knew that the way I acted in relationships was not okay, but I didn't know the source of it.
What helped you to understand this?
Probably years and years and years of therapy. Probably turning 30. And I know that sounds silly, but I think as a society, like when women turn 30, they're kind of faced with this, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. Okay, do you want kids?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get married? Are you ready to marry the person you're with right now? Like, you're kind of faced with all of those questions, and I think that also kind of pushed it along.
Also, you have a birthday coming up, don't you?
I
saw that.
Oh my God. By the way, for everyone listening, Felix is the fucking best.
Thank
You and Serena are like you guys are kind of like, I want to base my next relationship off
so
of you
sweet.
guys. I'm not joking. You're such a gentleman. Do you think it has to do with your upbringing? Like being French?
Yeah, I think a lot of credit to my mom. My parents were divorced at a very young age, so I think I spent a lot of time, independently navigating. And I think my mom did a great job, and also my dad is present as well. So he did. I spent the majority of my time with my mom though, and then I think even my French side of my family is very well mannered and like about that. So I have to give a lot of credit to them.
Well, you're very mature.
Thank you
for your age, and shout out to your mom. That's another thing. I'm just gonna get really deep.
Yeah, please.
The one seltzer. Actually, it's my second. It really hit. Just kidding. It takes 8 margaritas for me to feel tipsy. Absolutely. Wow. That's not anything to brag about, but I just want to tell the truth.
This is a truthful podcast.
Yeah. But very recently, my relationship with my biological father and then my relationship with my dad, even though he's not my real dad by blood, but he's been there since I was 6 years old. That is something that's also really coming to the forefront for me, and how that's like impacted my relationship.
How so?
I grew up with a single mom. Mm-hmm. I think she felt like she really needed to protect me. And one of the ways she did that was to tell me religiously, you are completely fine without having a father figure because you have a really strong independent mom. You're good. Mm-hmm. And so as a kid, you're going to internalize that and you're going to say, oh, there's no issue here. You know? Mm-hmm. In retrospect, I think it's okay to acknowledge, oh, well, you don't have a father figure, and that may impact how you see relationships, how you view the world, how you view men.
Yeah.
And so I'm really just now like kind of like lifting the veil on that whole thing.
So before, would you kind of ignore that, the fact that could play into some of your own romantic relationships?
Beyond. Like when I tell you in therapy, I've talked about every single other aspect of my life. And then when my therapist is like, do you think there's something there? I have no reaction to it. And I'm like, no. And my therapist is like, okay, but like, let's, dive in a little bit deeper. And I know there's something there for sure.
If you're comfortable sharing, did your mom and your biological...
I am. You don't even ask the question.
Did your mom and your biological dad, was it an active choice to have him not be part of your life?
No. So my mom was living in San Francisco, and she had met my biological father. He was backpacking through the United States. He lives in Spain.
Okay.
They dated for like a month or two. She got pregnant. She reached out to him and asked, do you want to see Sofia? Do you want to be a part of her life? And he said no.
Okay.
What I think is very important to point out is this isn't like a typical single mom story, and my abandonment issue. This will really put shit into perspective. I was given the opportunity to meet him for the first time when I was in middle school.
Oh, wow.
So he flew in from Spain, which showed a lot of effort on his part. I'm in middle school. He comes by like my 8th grade graduation. We meet each other. And then nothing really happens. High school, my mom and I are traveling through Europe, and we go to Spain, and I'm given that opportunity again. We meet, spend a few days together. Then he never speaks to me again. So it's kind of this like, I was abandoned at birth, middle school, high school.
Right.
It's like 3 times in a row.
And you had reached out and he just stopped answering?
I don't know if I reached out, but it was this kind of thing where it was like, I spent a week with him. He's my dad. And he did not follow up, ask how I'm doing, none of that.
And that the last time you saw him was when?
High school.
Okay.
So, and I'm 31 now.
Right.
But I think that, kind of speaks volumes to maybe why I've acted the way I've acted.
Did it hurt you actively when you were high school, college, mid-20s now? Do you think it hurts you?
I think deep down, but I've gotten so good at not letting it and covering it up that I can't sit here and be like, oh, I feel emotional right now.
Right.
So that's something I need to work on. I plan to do ayahuasca.
Oh. Wait.
You're like, right. That's exactly what you need to do.
No. It's interesting though, right? Because you find these things then probably in your romantic relationships, and you've probably to some degree, because of the things that you felt consciously or subconsciously, then look for that in a partner or don't, or or some of the abandonment kind of comes up.
Yeah.
Do you think that has this made you want to be a parent or less because of the way that you were brought up?
I don't think it's made me want to be a parent more or less. I've always wanted to be a mom, and I know I'll be a great mom. However, I think it definitely impacts how I find a partner, what I'm looking for, and how I plan to act.
How do you plan to act?
I plan to look for values.
Okay.
What this guy values, and I'm not just falling into a relationship because of XYZ. I'm doing it because it's going to really add to my life.
So I'm also curious because you were talking about like when women get to this age of 30, they start thinking about all the things. Was there a fear in this breakup, because you are 31 and at that point, that you were like, is this, is there an extra fear because you're at that age and you're going through a breakup and like, what if I don't find that? Like,
right.
I'm sure a lot of, and I've heard that like a lot of people, women and both men as well, they get to certain ages and they start to have these these fears.
Right.
Is it active?
Yes. But I think it's interesting how that fear has manifested for me specifically, because I've seen firsthand a lot of women will just marry the guy they're in a relationship with, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't know if I'll find anyone, and da-da-da. My reaction was like, that could very well happen. I don't find someone. I would rather risk it than marry this person who I know is not right for me.
So I'm curious, in the past, right, when you would be unfaithful, was it an active, because you are very self-aware. So like, did you, and look, I think honestly, respect to you for talking about it, because I think like a lot, like cheating happens every
All
day,
the time, and
a lot of
get
people
upset.
lie and they don't talk about it. What is it that would make you cheat in the past?
Me staying in relationships for 1, 2, 3 years longer than they were supposed to, and knowing it the whole time. And it wasn't like this active, I was seeking it. It was just, the relationship was over before we both said it was over. You know what I mean? Which doesn't make it okay, but.
So in terms of now moving forward, when you said the values thing, because we were trying to set you up the other day at dinner at the, shout out to Brand Flakes and his collab.
Yeah.
That's where we met, his Just Salad and Poppy collab. Love that guy. What a
He's
sweetheart
the
human.
best.
Literally the best human. We were trying to brainstorm potential candidates.
Right.
What are you really looking for? Because here's the other thing, and I'm not gonna, like, there's obviously the clips of you talking about like the financials and stuff, whatever. That's probably annoying to you at this point. But like, what are you actually looking for in a man, in all seriousness?
And by the way, thank you so much for brainstorming. You guys went directly to athlete.
Well,
I was like,
to be fair, you were giving us, you literally said, I want to be a wag.
There's no way in hell I said that. I must have been 7.
But then we also then agreed, I don't know if you remember this part, that maximum 1 year before you get cheated on if you date an athlete. If it's an NBA player, make it about 6 months. We were actually brainstorming UFC athletes for you.
Oh, right.
And I have some UFC friends if you'd like to be introduced. I don't know if you're into fighters. Is that like, I mean, it's like a hot profession, no?
Right.
Kind of.
When I think UFC, I think Logan Paul, Dylan Dennis.
No, but okay, well.
Is that not?
So Logan Paul is WWE.
Oh, that's the
and
fake
Dylan
one.
Dennis is a problem.
Is just a problem.
I mean,
dude.
he's a very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if you're familiar with Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But other than that, skill for skill, quite bad. I think
Okay.
unanimously agree
So
upon.
neither of them are UFC.
So actually neither of them are in the UFC.
Well, now that you've explained that to me, I think I'm more open to the prospect of a UFC fighter.
So like, have you heard of Sean O'Malley?
Are we going to go down this road? Because I'm just going to say, and I have no idea who you're talking about. Can I Google? Is he single? Has he said anything about me?
He's like he's actually interesting. Speaking of not being with one person, he's actually like, they're very poly. I think he has a girlfriend, but he's like very, like, he's like open. So maybe actually not the right. We're trying to be in good now and be one.
Because my past, I've acted one way. I very much would like to, my next
to stray away from that.
I want to be completely exclusive, 2 people committed to each other.
It's so funny that you said Dylan Dennis and Logan Paul like together, considering all of their beefs. Like they literally.
That's probably why, right? Like that's all. Like I saw it when I was scrolling Twitter.
Probably.
Dylan actually like has been blowing me up recently. I'm not responded. But he's really nice, so I have nothing bad to say. We recorded one time together.
He's definitely hit on you. I mean, that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
I feel like, no disrespect, I feel like he probably hits on a lot of people.
I think he's hit on / had sex with / had fun with 80% of the New York City, New Jersey population. That's a lot. I'm going to say 40%, which is still a lot.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I'm so excited to take a second to talk about this right now. For myself, someone who's always on the go and fast moving and, deals with little and bigger stresses every day and really just trying to create a life for myself as a young entrepreneur and hustler and whatever you want to call it. It's really nice to be able to take some time to think about my own mental health journey and think really about what therapy has done for me over the last couple of years. I've been in therapy on and off, sometimes for longer periods than others. I think that what makes therapy so beautiful is that it allows you to really take some time and completely detach from the world. Everybody needs that. We're in this instant gratification, doom scrolling generation where when you're still, you just pick up your phone and go on Instagram and see what other people are doing and probably subconsciously compare yourself. And so if you're someone who wants to get back into therapy or wants to get into therapy for the first time, go to betterhelp.com/unlikeme and you'll get 10% off of your first month. Again, that's BETTER help.com/unlikeme for 10% off your first month. And I just really challenge you to prioritize yourself before you prioritize anybody else. Now let's get back into it. Anywho, hit the puff.
You have me talking deep.
But so you think athlete or no athlete?
That was.
I think you need like a wholesome man.
Same. I agree.
But do you think you could be happy? This is the other thing that I think is a problem with this generation or where we're at in society is that I think for some people, for some others it works. For some people, they're incapable, and it's not like to their own fault, to be in a monogamous relationship for 10, 20, 30 years. And it's an unfair expectation for them. Mm-hmm. You're really nodding your head on that one. You're like, so like, what if, and I actually like, there's people that I know, friends of mine that have gotten married that like, they have these conversations with their partner that like, it is unfair for them to expect to only be together physically forever.
Yep.
Do you think that's a conversation you would have with a future partner?
Very French of you, by the way.
Now, French first of all, they get a terrible rep on a lot of things.
But I don't even think that's a terrible rep. I think they're just more open with their sexuality, but you tell me.
The French, I mean, look, it's a culture of love, right? It's a very romantic culture. You know what's funny? Hookup culture is way less in France than it is in the United States, even though it is like my French friends compared to my American friends, it's like they're borderline virgins.
Right.
A good Frenchman could do you.
If I would love that. Because the French are just better than everyone else on the planet,
For
right?
sure. That's how we walk around. We literally walk around like dickheads.
I mean, my mom's from Argentina, and not at the French level, but like.
It's a little too much for an Argentine. Like the Argentine men, definitely toxic. With all respect, my girlfriend's Argentine, so is her family.
Right. But I mean, I actually wanted to ask you: are Argentine women a little bit more wild?
Are we speaking physically or like
actually
like mentally?
Yeah. Does Serena like fuck with your head?
No, I think there's people think that like she does, but
they do think that. I was totally kidding.
No, I think not fuck with my head. That's the wrong way to put it. I think like that she's SFK in our relationship, and SFK is like the brand,
totally,
which is a phenomenal brand. But like Serena is like a teddy bear human. You know what I mean? And you know that.
I know that. I know that about her, and also how she's been with you specifically. Yeah. I'm like, okay, like teddy bear, and I love to see that side of her. But to your question, would I have a conversation with someone I'm committed to? Would we open up the relationship, right?
Yeah, or at least yes.
We can say that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I obviously I won't use names, but I had a friend I have a friend. He's been with his girlfriend for years. They get engaged, and I had known him when they were dating, engaged, marriage, the whole thing. And before they got married, like literally they get engaged, and him and his mom sat down the woman and said, I know you're the only person I'll ever, or he said to his fiance, I know you're the only woman I'll ever love in my life, but you know my past. Like, I need something physically sometimes. And I just, like, this is who I am. And which is a big risk, right? Like, you're telling it to your fiance who you're about to marry. And then also the mom literally sat down and had, like, apparently an identical conversation. And she was like, look, I get it, because, like, I know this is how you are. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't want you to do this frequently. I don't want you to bring it in our house around our kids. Like, he's often traveling for work. Like, if it's once every blue moon and I don't hear about it, know about it, see about it, you do you. But, like, these are at least the kind of limits that I have.
Right.
They had a very open conversation about it. And he told me, he's like, that, I mean, if anything, it just made me want to be even more with her and want less of anything else. And so, look, do I, like, agree with, I mean, everybody's going to have their different opinions. But I think it's interesting to see people who, like, are at least self-aware that they can't be in strictly monogamous relationships to have the conversations with their partners. And I think, like, 50 years ago, no one was having that and everybody was cheating behind their backs.
Exactly. I respect your friend for voicing it, right? Because I think a lot of the reason that people feel so heartbroken and horrified when they get cheated on is the secrecy aspect,
right.
You know? Would I love if a guy, when we get engaged, is like, by the way, I will need to have...
No, by the way, I'm fucking other girls.
Yeah.
Probably not the best thing to hear.
No. And if I go into a relationship, if you were to bring that up, that it would be a no for me. However, if we entered into the relationship, I would confidently say 5 years from now, we can have that conversation.
Okay.
I think we could do 5 years. And if we can't, then let's just be real about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think I could very well see myself at 5 year mark being like, okay, I'm kind of want to have fun.
But would you be okay with your potential future partner or husband doing that as well?
Yeah, I would have to. Maybe let's say 7. I don't know why that number. I just pulling it out of thin air, but yeah. Are you and Serena? No. But in 7 years,
you know, I look. We're in a very happy
I love
relationship.
I'm making about you and Serena.
We're in a very happy relationship. I think this is what I'll say. We have tremendous communication, and I think, like, that is ultimately the bottom line. And if she came to me one day and said that, of course, like, you know, you take a pause and, like, it's not normal to the relationship. So you're like, okay, like, let me download this information for a second and sit with it.
Yeah.
And look, I think it's very interesting that people are starting to at least be more open about their temptations and whatever it might be. And I actually respect people more that have the conversations and the communications about that and their needs and desires, as opposed to just, you know, not. And
right. Look, the conversation in my next relationship is very much going to be, we are exclusive and there's no one that we are emotionally or physically,
right,
you know, having an attachment to. I just also don't want to go into marriage, which is till death do us part, completely naive.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into it like, oh, no. Even, you know, 30 years from now, that's not an option.
Right.
I just want it to be like, conversation is always welcome. Communication, always welcome. That's what it is.
There you go.
That was
okay.
Good. Okay, I should have a podcast.
Okay. So, speaking of podcast, everybody knows all the stuff.
Yep.
We're not going to do the whole debrief. They can go look at all the other shows you've done talking about the saga.
Yes.
We'll just leave it at that.
Articles, any internet search.
Now, like I told you before before you got on, I'm more fascinated by, you know, the psychology and the trauma of recovering from a very public fallout, where stakes were very high, and how one, or at least in your situation, like bounces back to still live life, be happy, you know, be a professional, find your own success. How long after the whole saga did it really take you for you to heal, or do you feel fully healed today?
I don't feel fully healed, and I don't think that is a thing.
Okay.
And I think anyone going through trauma, I feel as close to being healed as I possibly could. There will be a day here and there where it gets to me. But for the most part, I feel really good and light years better than how I did when it was happening.
How does it manifest when the days where it's a little bit harder to cope with that?
I think it really just manifests as negative self-talk, and maybe manifests as not feeling as motivated or ambitious, and kind of waking up and being like, what is this all for?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? But the way that I've healed the most and what keeps me going is, I think anyone who is going through a traumatic thing right now, or anyone who feels like they are at rock bottom, because I absolutely did, when you have no other options, there's this really magical thing that will also happen. And I was the most depressed, sad, horrified, felt like shit about myself, scared of my life and my future and everything. But because I was left with no option, I had to build kind of this love for myself, this resilience, this incredible version of myself that I otherwise probably wouldn't have. And I know it sounds corny, but it's my truth.
I mean, that's real too, because like I can imagine. I think most people can only imagine what it must have felt like. Just because of all the friendship and relationship dynamics, the sums of money at hand, like. But in a lot of ways, correct me if I'm wrong, and kind of like you said, there has to be like, if you've hit rock bottom, it's almost like it can only get better from here.
And that's extremely true. And everything that happened is extremely nuanced, right? There's betrayal at hand. There's your livelihood at hand. How am I going to make money? Huge sums of money at hand that, you know, things that you said or phrases you said are now making millions and millions of dollars, and you're not seeing a penny from it. That's not to say like I'm still bitter. I hope it doesn't come off that way. It's this idea of like, would I be that much happier of a human being if I was still in that picture? Does money equate happiness to that level? And I don't want it to sound like this like sob loser mentality, like, well, you know, you just have to make do. I'm very confident I already am successful in my own right, beyond any comprehension that I had when I was still living in Utah before I podcasted. And I know I have a very successful future. But it's, if you live your life like that, and it could have been this and it should have been this, and you will never be happy or feel fulfilled.
I think, you know, one thing that, and even Serena and I talk about this all the time, and as you know, being in the public eye, it's like, I think comparison is just an absolute thief of joy, you know?
Absolutely.
And like, there's probably so many, I use that from a BetterHelp ad that I did
I'm like,
recently.
wait, I've
Did
heard
you do that one
before.
too? Shout out to BetterHelp.
Yeah.
But do you still compare yourself to that person? Also, for people that are not familiar with the story, just honestly Google it. We're not going to give
if
you
you
the
Google
whole.
Sofia Franklyn, or Sofia the F, it will all be right there at your fingertips. Do I compare? No, zero. Like zero comparison. I'm on my own
Yeah.
path journey.
Amazing.
And so is she, and that's it.
In terms of when you decided to start your own show, I'm sure that there was fear to some extent. What was the goal? I mean, was it just like, I gotta do my own thing now? How did you approach starting Sophia with an F?
Definitely a huge element of that. I gotta just do my own thing. Huge element from outside forces. My agent at the time, my publicist at the time, the agency that was gonna, publish the podcast. I remember all of them saying, if you don't put out an episode, you're gonna get forgotten. Like, if you don't put something out this week and then next week, like, you will get forgotten. In hindsight, do I think they just wanted a paycheck and that was fucking bullshit? Yes. But it was also very therapeutic to just throw myself into work. Call it therapeutic, call it not healthy, but
is there a fear, and even now, is there a fear of not being as relevant as you once were?
Sometimes. But I've gotten really good at only taking into consideration things that matter. When I'm on my deathbed, am I going to say to myself, fuck, you were not that relevant on social media? Probably not.
It's an excellent way to look at it.
I always think about things in terms of when I'm on my deathbed. Well,
what else do you think about on your deathbed?
Which is kind of a,
it's good. I agree. It's a good way to look at it, though, if you need perspective.
We think we have all of this time here. Yeah. We don't. And what are the things that, like, actually to your core feel good, And
I think, but that's also spoken from someone who's been
who's been through some shit. I sound like I, graduated AA today. I'm like, yeah.
I'm 3 years in.
Yeah.
Are you, well, I'm curious too, and I'm sure it's helped a lot of people. Is there one moment that you can pinpoint as rock bottom? Or is it maybe what was the moment that you understood that your former partner was doing her thing, that you were not going to be involved? She signed the deals that she signed, and that you were going to have to be doing your own thing. Do you remember what that moment was? That the worst moment?
Yes. And I believe it's when she came out with a YouTube video that has now since been taken down, and you can't find it, I don't think, where it's just her and it's over an hour long saying all the reasons why I'm no longer involved. And I just remember being in the kitchen and I remember physically my body just numbed itself. And I don't want to sound, because, trauma comes in all shapes and sizes. What is really interesting that I haven't even really shared, I was going to EMDR. Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't. It's a type of therapy. And it's specifically targeted for people who have gone through trauma, and they can really pinpoint one specific event.
Right.
I was going to EMDR therapy, and my EMDR therapist 3 sessions in said, this incident that happened to you was horrifying, right? And your well-being and your whole reputation online is being completely destroyed. I didn't even know if what I said would hold any value.
Right.
And also I had, thousands of people telling me to kill myself and go die a day. But in therapy, she said, this particular incident is not what I think we should focus on. I don't think we should continue doing EMDR. And I think this incident was poking the bear, and you need to go find the bear, which was way earlier in your childhood. And that sounds like, how the fuck would that lady know that? Because I showed signs in middle school and high school of me trying to numb something else out. So I just think that's really interesting.
Do you, in terms of the therapy since then, is it anything similar to what you were doing at the time, or are there specific types of therapy that have also helped you more than others?
Well, the EMDR therapy didn't help me. She basically was like, you're healed and you're perfect.
Why are you not great?
She's like,
thousands of people are telling you to kill yourself. Yeah, why are you not smiling?
Right. Well, no, the EMDR, I've been in therapy since diapers. The EMDR was in the past few months where I'm like, all right, I feel like I've been in therapy. I want to go deeper and I want to like really face my demons. And she was like, I get it, this thing, but I think you have to go way back. So I just do regular, what is it called? Not CBT.
I think it is
cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah, okay. I do that.
I almost feel like I don't know if you, I'm sure you probably to some extent have thought about this, but like, I feel like this almost needed to happen in your life in a twisted way, right?
Yeah.
Because
you sound like my mom. She always says that.
Like, it addressed what maybe perhaps you had never addressed before.
Absolutely.
And sure, did it come at a cost? Yeah.
Yeah. And big time.
And at every level, sure. But like, look, at least from now, from the person that's sitting in front of me, fresh off the breakup, we're doing well. I probably
don't have to worry about that incident happening again. That's for sure.
There you go. I think in the future we'll be prepped. After that moment though, when you were watching the video that she posted, what's next? What do you're making?
Like, where do you go from there?
You stop cooking when you're in the kitchen? Or?
It was this crazy thing because it wasn't just like this media storm against me. It was my, someone who I shared my deepest, darkest secrets with, all of a sudden publicly being like, I'm going to say that and I'm going to say this. And so every day I woke up like, what private or, stuff is going to be said about me? That was really hard. Or my family or people I love.
When she posted that video, was that also when the announcement with her, the other networking deal that she signed? That was later?
That was months later.
What was your feeling when you heard that news? Knowing that you were 50-50 partners and doing some quick math on it. I mean, we can laugh about it now.
It was rough.
I'm sure.
It was rough. And it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
There will be another deal.
Yeah.
And I will continue seeing, stuff, and it will always be there. But now I can laugh about it. But yeah, it was really tough.
I know we're joking, but like, I do really commend you to be able to laugh about it. Because I think, in my opinion, especially in the darkest times, humor is the only way to cope.
I completely agree with that, and I always get in a lot of trouble.
And hitting a puff as well.
And hitting the vape, but I always get in trouble because I will laugh about some really fucked up shit.
Me too.
But it's like, what should I cry? No, thank you.
Before also, because we have to make a deal about. We can make a TikTok, sure, but we have a bet that we're gonna record before we go any farther.
You're really gonna make me do this, huh? Live.
So you were telling me that this is the last puffer you're ever going to purchase. And I said, something tells me that's not true. Let's bet on it. So here in front of the cameras and the microphones, because I told you, I was like, oh, no, I'm Venmo requesting you if you don't.
But does that mean you Venmo me if I actually quit?
For sure.
That's kind of, what if I just lie about it? You'll catch me. You'll catch me with a vape in my hand every picture.
First of all, like something tells me I'll catch you. Oh, if I catch you in the lie, 5 times the amount.
Oh my God.
That's actually a good
I'm gonna only hit this shit in the bathroom stall for the rest of my life.
Terrified. Okay.
No, I think it's, you know what? I'm gonna buy Nicorette. The patch is really crazy to me. Can you explain to me how a Nicorette patch works?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Like, does it just, because have you ever chewed on Nicorette gum?
I haven't, no. None of that.
That's crazy. Okay.
This is going to sound crazy. I haven't smoked anything in my life.
Have you taken drugs of any kind?
Yeah, I've done edibles.
Okay.
We'll do the little chocolate shrooms, which are excellent, by the way.
Oh, by the way,
if anybody would love to sponsor my show in my studio.
Wait, no, me actually, because I actually took a bite before I got here.
Oh, really?
I actually have one in my purse.
Damn, so which ones?
I'm not.
Go ahead, get your brand deal right now.
No, this is going to look
is this one of
really
those-
sketchy how I have it with me right now, but I had the whole chocolate bar and it's so hot outside it kept melting. So I put it in this little
Are those the
baggie.
polka dots?
How'd you know? Oh, so you know.
No.
Polka dot sponsor me, not him. By the way, I brought it. Where's yours?
And you didn't even share, which is crazy.
The polka dot says 1 piece to 4 is microdosing.
But hold on, is polka dot a legit brand, or is it just at the like sus delis?
This is how legit they are. They really need to sponsor me at this point. So the last chocolate bar I had, it was a collab with Toblerone chocolate.
Oh, that's a great collab.
Huge. So I want to say they're legit. Do I believe the directions on the back, 1 to 4 pieces microdosing?
How many pieces do you take?
I take a tiny little bite of one. And I one time took half of one and I was like, oh my God, the colors are crazy. So
I'm giving you a lot of credit for going off topic on this bet because I do want to get this bet out of the way.
right. I'm deflecting
You're
like
deflecting. So
how much money are we putting on it? 1,000?
$1,000.
That's actually on the cheaper.
That's fine. That this is your last
That's crazy. Okay.
Juul e-cigarette puffer.
Not cigarette.
I said e-cigarette.
Okay, yes.
This is the last one ever.
Last one, and when it dies, let's see what percent it's at, but I can charge it, but it's probably got to
No. Yeah, what percent is it at?
Let's see. 22. But the
That's our lucky number.
the juice. Okay,
That's my lucky number too,
Okay,
so you're
deal.
fucked. So when that goes to 0, that's the
Is
last.
it actually?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, damn.
I was born on January 22nd.
Capricorn?
Aquarius.
Okay.
So we're it's a deal,
Yes.
but
Period. I was
Period.
going to say I could charge it.
I can't wait. You know what's gonna be hilarious? So we're going to Hamptons this weekend, and I feel like you're probably gonna end up there.
I kind of do too.
And I'm gonna see you at one of the 3 places that feels like every person and their mom goes to every weekend.
Right.
And you're going to be hitting something, and it's gonna be incredible because I'm gonna Venmo request you in front of you. Because here's the thing it's not even the money; it's a principle thing.
Right. No, I
We
know.
make a
That's
deal,
why I'm taking
and honestly, this is out
seriously.
of caring for you. Like
I know. It's what's best for me.
it is.
If I'm smoking a cigarette, you can't say shit, just by the way.
Fine, but this also includes like going up to someone to ask them to hit theirs.
Oh, that is
Because you as you were pointed out.
like, wait, I can't just like
No,
this
like
is a real addict.
this is you're done with the puffer stuff.
Okay, deal. When this one dies, I gotta go purchase all the Nicorette stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Nicorette sponsor me.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you on the internet? And what do you want people to know about you? Like, I think, it's I'm sure it's hard because like people know you for like the shit.
Yes.
And then but like what do you want people to actually know about you? Are you a teddy bear on the inside too?
I am a total teddy bear on the inside. I think when people don't act like a teddy bear, it's because they've been hurt. I am now more vulnerable. I also think there's a major misconception that I'm a gold digger and just dumb, and neither of those things are true. It's hard being this good looking and being open because then you get put in a box. I'm being sarcastic, but that's kind of,
We had to clarify those allegations. We had to.
those are the major
Those
ones.
major ones. To wrap things up.
Okay.
Manifest for me.
Okay.
Because we manifested rich.
Yep.
Next time you come back here and whenever you do, let's say in 5 years, where are you at? Do we have boyfriend, fiance, or perhaps husband that we've been loyal to for 5 years?
Absolutely no question.
Okay.
Husband, probably 2 kids,
Oh, wow.
and extremely successful career that I think will actually be different than the trajectory I'm on now.
Well, before I leave you, what are there other
Avenues?
Yeah.
There are.
Can we talk about them or no?
We can't, but they're different avenues. They're still in entertainment in some kind of way. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna get? Is it like feral behavior and entertainment?
Maybe. It could be. It really depends on me how I decide to go about it. But yeah.
Well, look. First, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Felix, you're actually the best.
I appreciate it. Such a blast. We'll hang out
in the Hamptons.
We'll do a little. We'll do our Arsini weekend in the Hamptons. But no, me, you, Serena, we're gonna set. Serena and I we're already thinking. We're like, who are we gonna set Sofia up with?
Let's put the UFC thing. Let's put that aside.
Okay, you're done with that.
I'm looking for a good.
No
guy.
NBA, you're gonna get cheated on. NFL, oof, you might also get cheated on.
Any athlete.
Any athlete, it's tricky.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Do you only hang out around?
No,
athletes?
I don't.
Are
actually.
You Drake? Are you literally Drake?
Why don't you call out one? Is there one person that you want to DM you and reach out to you? Who do you want?
No.
To hit on you? No one.
No. I like to be out in the field. This is what I will say. I think I come off very not approachable, which I didn't think was a thing. I thought dudes, just all of them feel confident enough to go up to a girl. I am very much approachable. So come up and let's go on a date. That's kind of a crazy thing to say. I'm like, anyone. Like anyone. But yeah. I want to put that energy out there.
Okay, so we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Thank you so much, though. Such a pleasure.
Thank you. This was great.
Awesome.